I think too many goalies don't know how to properly manage their emotions. So this is something that I want to address. It comes up a lot. I get a lot of messages on Instagram from goalies that have lost confidence because they've had a couple bad games in a row, or they let in a bad goal and then it affects their game, the rest of the game after they let in a goal. I think you're looking at things the wrong way if that's happening to you. And I think that this kind of mindset is hurting your performance, and it's not necessary. You don't need to be acting that way. You don't need to be thinking that way. And I think the solution to that is to think more about the process than about the results. So if you're always thinking about what you did previously, what the last 10 minutes were, how you played last game, then you're going to get too caught up in things that don't really matter. And you start following this roller coaster of you had a good game and you had a shutout, so now you feel good. And then you had a bad game and you don't feel good anymore and you lost your confidence. And that's just not, that shouldn't be happening, because you should be treating goaltending as more of a process and trying to follow that process and focusing less on the results and just sticking to that routine and the things you need to do to play well. So what I mean by that is, instead of focusing on the results, focus on hitting certain objectives. So if you have a game the night before, did you sleep properly? And don't worry about getting a certain amount of hours of sleep, but make sure you get into bed at the right time and you're relaxing and you're spending that time recovering before you wake up the day of a game. So you get to bed at an appropriate time, you wake up, you get outside, you get some sunlight, you get some light movement, some exercise, some activity. Now you're starting to get ready for the game. Are you spending time visualizing? Are you visualizing your success, the saves you're going to make that game, the feeling of winning on the ice? Are you building up that imagination of what's going to happen later that day and putting in your mind positive results that are going to happen to you later that day? Are you spending time studying film, watching maybe your competition if you have access to that, or watching NHL goalies and learning things and trying to put that stuff into your head the day of the game? Are you doing that stuff? Are you doing that consistently? Are you getting to the rink on time, getting in a proper off-ice warm-up, getting there early, making sure you're ready? Are you following these steps that will help you have a good performance? Because that's really the important thing here. It's having a routine, having something you can follow consistently and reaching those objectives, right? Instead of worrying about how you played or how you're going to play. Doing the things that matter, doing the things that are important, and then letting the performance come from there, not thinking about it too much. And I think goalies need to be more robotic about their game. And what I mean by that is not the way you play, not being a robot on the ice, but being robotic in just doing things and doing what you know you need to do to play well, and letting the results come from that. So that means showing up at practice, working hard, working on things, getting better, following that routine that I talked about, following the right consistent habits, doing that all the time, and then you'll see that your performance will be better because of that. So it's not about how you played last game. It's not about letting in a bad goal. That stuff can't be thought about. You have to move that to the back of your mind and just focus on what you need to do. So in a game, what that looks like is focusing on the play in front of you, trying to identify things that matter, anticipating what's going to happen based on where players are situated on the ice, or where the puck is, or the time of the game. Maybe there's a minute left in a period, maybe there's 30 seconds, maybe there's power play, penalty kill, whatever it is. You need to understand that and focus on what's in front of you and follow that process robotically. And then the last part of this really is not getting caught up in these short-term feelings that come up when you have a bad game or when you let in a bad goal. I think honestly that it's ridiculous to doubt yourself because you had a bad game. Like, every goalie has bad games. Letting in 5 goals also doesn't mean you had a bad game necessarily. There's so many circumstances that are out of our control in a game, both how many shots you give up or how many shots your team gives up, the quality of the shots, the luck that comes down to where a shot is placed and who it hits off of, if it's deflected. So many things can happen that if you only focused on the results, then you're going to get caught up in things that don't really matter, and you're going to be negative for no reason, and you're going to waste time. And not only will that get in the way of your improvement, but it'll get in the way of the enjoyment of the game, which is really what it comes down to. So like I said, I get a lot of these messages from goalies, and I'm happy to answer them anytime they come in. But I just want you to understand that you shouldn't think badly about yourself because you're in a slump, and you shouldn't even think about being in a slump. Like, 2 bad games in a row is not a slump. It's the reality of the sport we play. There's so many things that are out of our control, and so many goalies at the highest levels go through that. They have bad games, they let in goals that they shouldn't let in, but you just have to move on past that. And that's why you need to have that that way of thinking robotically, like I said. Just follow the steps, do what you need to do. Work out off the ice, work hard in practice, get sleep, follow a good diet, improve your game, find ways to evolve and get better, and just focus on doing that and hitting those milestones and hitting those objectives on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And then everything else will take care of itself. So don't get caught up in how you did last week or how you did 5 minutes ago. Focus on the important things that you can control, that you can use to influence what's coming next. If you do that, if you focus on what's in your control and you do the things that you know you need to do, and you stop worrying about the past and obsessing about your next game and how you're going to get out of the slump, if you can avoid thinking that way and just focus on what's in front of you and accomplishing what you need to, you're going to be a much better goalie. And then of course you can translate this into everything else in your life. Hope you found this video helpful. Please subscribe to the channel and I will see you in the next video.